This is Death Machine USA, bringing you a pretty short, brief review of the Churchill VII British Tier 6 heavy tank. As of update 7.8 that we currently received, this tank received a buff. But was the buff enough? Does it make a big difference with this tank? And is it enough for it? Well, let's get into the buff itself, and you're going to see some numbers here. So the top suspension had an increase to 23.99 degrees of hull traverse, which is a good thing in the sense that you don't get circled, or you can pivot your tank to not get flanked by the enemy, which was an issue on this tank. So anything to help with that, well, you ever heard that something is better than nothing? So that's what it comes down to. Now, the good thing about this tank is the gun is great. It has a very good gun. It has good DPM, good penetration, and that's not the issue with this tank. The issue with the tank is its mobility. It's a very slow tank. The maximum speed is 19 kilometers per hour. So with this tank, you have to know your map and take an educated tactical guess to basically position your tank where it could be most effective soon as you spawn. And this is the frontline tank, but unfortunately it can be somewhat team dependent. So let's get into a match. So the problem with this tank is that they would be able to flank you and go to your rear and cause a lot of issues in protecting yourself and angling. The other problem is that this thing just goes 19 miles per hour, and that's a really big issue. To me, it's like it should be just, if the Wargaming had buffed the speed just slightly, this would have been a welcome buff to the tank, especially against Annihilators and these other tanks that are now on the scene that are fantasy tanks. Now, the trick to this tank is you have to angle the sides. If you angle the sides, you'll get a bounce just like that. The tank is very long, so you have to be aware of your positioning and also use covers, buildings, and etc. As you can see, behind me is this stupid tank, so I can't really back up and side scrape like I want. So he's causing issues. Like, boom! See how I'm using the fenders and the sides, and I'm bouncing a lot of shots. And there's where the DPM comes in handy. As you can see, I'm in the middle of the action, and that's where you want to be. You want to be punishing their front line with this tank and its gun, and you have to bounce shots. You have to create your own armor. Now this guy's panicking and is shooting heat at me because he cannot find a way to penetrate the angle. See right there? So now I've successfully punished their front line. Another bounce. And this is how you effectively use the Churchill 7. However, that being said, I was very fortunate that I didn't get overrun by the enemy. And you do need to be aware of where your team's at. And this is, I don't want to say that this is a support reliant type of tank, but you definitely don't want to be caught alone in certain situations where you can get circled or shot in the rear. And that's the biggest weakness of this tank, again, is the speed. As you can see, we had a really nice match. The Churchill and Death Machine USA are going to town. I'm up to 4 kills, and the gun is just, it is great. They shouldn't have even really nerfed the gun. They should have kept the values the same. And there you go, that's a master badge. And so basically I'm going to come with the scale. On a scale of 1 to 10 as far as difficulty on this tank, 10 being an expert, you're going to have to be around probably like a 9 or 8 level type of skill player. in order to properly use this tank, because it isn't for the new guy, because it's going to take a lot of patience and a lot of tactical awareness to effectively use this tank. And that is my honest tank review, and hopefully there will be some more. Hope this information helps.